Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network, and today we're talking with David Rodriguez, who's been a longtime friend of mine and a speaker at the People's Reset, the Greater Reset before that, and his friend, his colleague in this new project, Rene Perez. Thank you guys for joining me today. How are y'all doing?
Amazing, man. Great to be here.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you guys about this. We're about to show you guys, everybody at home, the trailer, the sort of video for their crowdfunding of this new film that they're trying to put together. David showed this video at the People's Reset in the UK just a couple of weeks ago, and I was blown away by the quality of it and just the goals, the ambition of it. And right away, I told him, I said, we got to do an interview. Let's talk about this. Let's promote this to the audience. So before we get into all those details, we're going to play that video. But would you guys like to set it up and just share anything about, the filming or the goal of this video that we're going to play?
Yeah, I'll mention something, and then Rene, you can tap in too. So, brothers and sisters on planet Earth, humanity is in trouble, and a lot of us know that. And so the solutions are, thanks to Derrick here, is exit and build. And then we include voluntary relationships and independent food, water, and energy. So we have that. And so for some of us who were raised in this society, I'm dependent on the grocery store. I don't like that. I'm trying to grow my garden. So we need a vision of where the new society is going. And that's what this film is going to depict in an entertaining way. And so we'll get into the details after, but that's got that a quick setup. Is we want to show the world an image, the sounds, the emotions of where humanity can go, and I believe where we are going. And that's what this film is all about. How about yourself, Rene?
Yeah, and this is a crowdfunding video that we're going to show you here because Hollywood is against any type of liberation like this, any type of free thinking, and we can't make it happen without the people. So hopefully you'll see this video or listen to this video and see the logic in getting involved.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead. This is Sacred Live, an anti-woke film, and their crowdfunding pitch. Check this out, everybody.
Do you want to help make an anti-woke movie that attacks liberal hypocrisies? Are you tired of Hollywood's left-wing propaganda? Yes? So are we. That's why we're taking a stand.
In our world, conformity is the norm, but with the power of story, we can dare to break free. We're making a modern-day Romeo and Juliet film, where instead of the two being separated by their families, they're separated by their political ideologies. Woke liberals versus freedom-minded conservatives.
The name of the movie is Sacred Life. It is a heart-pounding thriller that reimagines the classic Romeo and Juliet tale for our times. While most of these crowdfunded projects are made by amateurs, our director is the real deal.
Rene Perez.
He's made 39 commercially released movies for distributors such as Sony and Universal Pictures, and for vendors like iTunes, Best Buy, Walmart, and Amazon. Unlike other crowdfunded films, this won't be an amateur production. This will be a commercial grade made by a professional with 20 years of experience. And here's a few clips from his previous movies.
This isn't just another movie, it's a bold statement about individual liberty and the power of voluntary association.
Featuring an anti-woke agenda, Sacred Life follows our hero as he navigates a government that has gained almost total control of the population.
We will introduce the concept of voluntary living, where individuals create intentional neighborhoods based on consent, mutual aid, and objective morality.
In an era of government tyranny and population reduction, a group of freedom seekers forged their own path.
We're not just making a movie, we're starting a movement for the future of humanity and freedom.
Watch as our characters build a thriving life outside of the corporate system, demonstrating real solutions like voluntary relationships, free markets, and growing food. It's an emerging concept that will be fully explained in the movie. But when love blossoms between two people from opposing worldviews, a conflict erupts.
Our talented cast and crew are ready to go. We just need your help to help us reach our goal of $350,000. In exchange, you will get some amazing perks for helping us produce this film.
Can our hero protect his community and his love while standing up against government overreach?
The fight's upon us, and I'm no soldier, but I do have the world's most powerful weapon, a camera, and I know how to use it. So who's with me?
This is your chance to be a part of something transformational. With your support, we can bring Sacred Life to screens everywhere.
Welcome to Sacred Life, where liberty meets love and individuals change the world.
Join us in reimagining what's possible for the human family.
All right, you heard it there. Join us to imagine what's possible for the human family. I love that, guys. I mean, if that's any indication of the quality, Rene, that you're going to try to bring, then I'm really looking forward to the finished project. Let's talk about it deeper, guys. I mean, first of all, before we get into the furthering of what the film is going to be about, which you just touched on there, David, how did you guys get connected? How did you link up?
The short story is I moved to a conservative county to get out of the stuff down in Santa Cruz, and somebody said you got to meet Rene Perez because I was on the show. I actually took the book, the Etienne de la Boetie, Government, the Biggest Scam in History book, and I went and gave that around to some friends out here. I said, hey, you guys are freedom people. Me too. And he said, you want to be on a show tomorrow? I said, yeah. He says, come on the podcast. I came on the podcast, and then during the show, I talk about my education stuff, get the kids out of the school system. He says, you got to meet Rene Perez. I'm like, all right. Well, a week or two passed. I'm like, this guy's not introducing me. So I found Rene on Facebook, messaged him, said, hey, I'm a friend of this guy, John Knight. And he said, okay, let's meet up. And I gave him the digital book, Government, the Biggest Scam in History, giving value, right, in a relationship. I said, hey, man, we're on the same team. Both parties are not going to solve anything for us. And then that started our relationship and friendship now, maybe almost a year. And we started talking and then talked to some investors. Some investors had a lot of money and they still can't see the vision of what is going on in the world. And a solution is making art that inspires and shows solutions. So that's how we got together.
I love that. I love hearing how the community brings powerful people together, talented people together. Rene, you shared a little bit there in the crowdfunding campaign. They were showing some of the previous films you worked on, but could you discuss a little more just for the audience about like your history of being involved in filmmaking, production, director, whatever other roles you played, and how you came to be involved?
Sure. Yeah, well, I'm only a director. I'm only on the creative side, not on the business side. But yeah, I've been doing it for 20 years, and I have always made freedom-minded movies. But in the last 6 years or so, I've been really shifting my focus to exposing Hollywood for their social engineering, and I've really shifted my focus to make purposely anti-woke movies. And you can see those on rebellionflix.com, because I know that people are mostly going to hear this and didn't see the footage. But if you wanted to see some of my work in action, you can go to rebellionflix.com and you could see many of my anti-woke, pro-freedom movies there. And I'm hoping to make our biggest movie here with Sacred Life, our biggest and best movie, and introduce all these great concepts, these great solutions on how we could live without the tyranny of the government.
Beautiful. I love it. How about before we go any further, just for anybody who might be hearing this and is not familiar, or maybe is familiar but would like to hear your specific definition for either of you or both of you, what does it mean to be anti-woke to you guys?
You want to go, Rene?
Well, woke seems to be putting people in position that they have not earned and that they are not suited for, and keeping people out who are the best fits for a certain position. In a nutshell, that's what it is. It's just a popular word that people use now for tyranny, for for the ownership of your mind in a Stalinistic sort of way, where you have to watch what you say. You can no longer say truth. You can no longer say obvious things because they are not woke. Again, putting things and people in places where they have no position to be, like having perverts lecture us on children's genders, and having just people who are not learned, educated, or experts in any field taking that position. Like in my field of movies, they're giving people movie directing jobs based on their social activism as opposed to their training. Now, my training and expertise is not something you can get easily, but in Hollywood, all you have to do is be a social activist and share the same views as Hollywood, and you can get a directing job if you are the correct underdog ethnicity or gender. Has nothing to do with talent or expertise.
Relating to like identity politics and stuff like that.
That's right. Yeah. What I would say, my definition of anti-woke
I would say it includes that.
Go ahead. There's a slight delay. But my definition would be pro-truth. Like Rene said, the most obvious things is that if you have testicles and a penis, you're a boy. If you have a vagina, you're a girl. That's self-evident. So when they're attacking the most obvious thing, they're attacking truth. And I think the reason they're doing that is because truth is directly related to justice. And so you've heard of climate justice, social justice, all these things. Those are all just fugazi side distractions. Justice is finding the truth, finding the aggressor, and making sure the aggressor stops and then gets restitution to the victim. So this idea, I would call it even a voluntarist-like movie, because Rene knows that both parties are criminal and he's on board. And it's like, okay, so what's the solution? Well, it's independent food, water, energy, entertainment, shelter, clothing, healthcare, these kind of things. And that's a steep mountain. You know, this is my third year growing a garden. This is hard work. So we need to see the image of that. And Rene's made these films, and one of the films you can see the quality, which blew my mind, is called Righteous Blood. But you can see the quality that 50 grand makes versus what we want to do is 350. And it looks like a multi-million-dollar production because he's not just writing the script, directing it, doing the cinematography with the video. He's editing it and scoring the music, even doing the fight scenes and the choreography. So a real talent here for freedom. And so anybody that wants to get involved, this is a solution. And Derrick knows, he coined that term, 6 years ago, exit and build. We would use that phrase around the bonfire to give us hope, because it's like, dude, when you see the tsunami of tyranny coming and the digital IDs and all these things, what are you going to do? Are we going to try to complain about it? No, we're going to exit and build and make them obsolete. And I didn't realize the power of video until I was talking with you more, Rene, about culture, right? They say politics is downstream of culture, and the bad guys have taken over the Star Wars franchise and these types of things to put these woke ideologies or falsities, lies into the culture. And I didn't realize that until hearing it from you, Rene. I'm like, man, how come there are no freedom movies? I'm grateful for the Jones Plantation, and that shows the problem of statism and slavery. However, we need the solutions that we're talking about right now.
I love it. Yeah, and I really appreciate that. I was in the introductory crowdfunding trailer. It said something about there being kind of a love story of one, a couple falling in love with opposing viewpoints, and that creates conflict. Do you already have the script written, Rene, or do you have sort of you guys already worked on the basic outline of the story, or is there any more y'all could share with us about that?
Yeah, I have the basic outline and I have the script. It's a Romeo and Juliet type story format. And it is, instead of them being separated by their families, like in the original Shakespeare, or in this case, they are separated by their ideologies, their political ideologies. So Romeo will be the freedom-minded conservative, and Juliet will be the liberally indoctrinated pro-government, pro-tyranny, woke girl. And they are going to have to understand each other. And it won't be understanding each other through insults. I know that the big thing on the internet is watching woke liberals getting decimated by some speaker. It's not about making fun of them. It'll be about showing them the truth, and showing it through a movie format is the best way to do that. Because we're all here. All three of us are mainly made up of either books we've read or movies we've seen. Mainly movies, because movies is the main tool of pleasure that they give us, to enjoy ourselves with. So we are made up of movies, so we don't even know it. But our ideologies are made up of movies. Our images of heroic exploration are made up of movies. Our ideas of what a great romance is made up of movies. So we're all made of movies. But the problem is, lately, since 2015, Hollywood has just turned into a tool of social engineering, where all they want to make is bad propaganda movies, movies that make us stupid, make us easier to control as a population of tax cattle. And we need to fight back. And conservatives don't seem to understand this, or freedom-minded people. They think movies are silly, but they're not. They shape culture in a way that nothing else ever can. The bad guys know this, and that's why they are winning by a huge margin.
Yeah, absolutely. The arts is always a great way to influence the human mind for positive or for negative. As you said, movies, obviously, music, and these different mediums, they connect with us in a different way than some other formats do. And it's also important, you were making the point there, that I don't think most people sort of wrestle with, is the fact that our interpretations of what a healthy relationship looks like, or how a man's supposed to act, or how a woman's supposed to act, is often fed to us through the TV shows and the movies that we watch growing up. And unless you have that moment of reflection of like, oh, I watched that one
That's
show
right.
and it had this scene and it made me feel this way, you never really even question it. And my regular viewers will know from my Pyramid of Power documentary series, our chapter on Hollywood, that the relationship between the intelligence agencies in Hollywood goes back for decades and decades, even well before 2015. So they have been trying to put different messages into our minds, whether that's pro-military or woke stuff or whatever it may be, for some time. So it is important that we have more films that can give people something to watch that also does have a positive message. I had a question for either of you, and this is kind of just, I guess, my personal interest. One of my major issues with liberty media, if you will, whether that's movies, music, etc., is that sometimes it feels like the message is too on the nose, and it's not going to appeal to people outside of those who are already, part of the club, so to speak. I think, David, you mentioned Jones Plantations. I think they did a pretty good job there of like sharing a message, but in a narrative format that was still entertaining, and it didn't feel like, you had to be an anarchist to get it or whatever. But is that something that you're considering, Rene and David, as you guys are putting this together, like how to make it be appealing beyond just our circles of people who already know what's up?
Well, that's not just part of the reason we're making it into a movie and not a documentary. It's the whole reason, because no one likes to get preached to. That's why Hollywood allows Christian films, because Christian films are so preachy that no one watches them. So the reason we're making this into a story is because people will watch it mainly for the story. Then they will get the message, kind of the way Star Trek does. You watch Star Trek and you watch the whole episode, and you don't even realize that you were watching a social commentary about war or its effects on a population. That's the exact format that I'm using. People will watch because they want to see a romance movie. People watch whatever they're in the mood for. If you're in the mood to take a road trip, you'll end up finding a road trip movie to watch. If you're in the mood for romance, you'll watch a romance movie. If you're feeling a little frisky and you want to feel the thrills of life and death, you'll watch a horror movie. People will choose what they want to watch based on how they feel at the moment. It's just like going to the theater and you're looking at the titles. Which one am I going to go see? It's based on how you feel at the moment. And so people may be in the mode to see a Romeo and Juliet type movie. There's many. Titanic is Romeo and Juliet on a boat. Star Wars Attack of the Clones is Romeo and Juliet, but they can't fall in love because one's a Jedi who's not supposed to get married, and the other's a senator. So there's a lot of Romeo and Juliet type stories. So I think people will mainly come to us, hopefully just to watch an entertaining story, but then get the edification along the way, whether they were expecting to or not. And it's not a new trick for me. I've been doing this for many years, for 20 years. In fact, all of my movies are freedom-centric and conservative-themed and Christian-themed and pro-freedom. So this is not a new thing that I'm trying. This is a very well-crafted over many decades thing that I'm going to employ to this movie. But good question, because a lot of people fail because of that. And a lot of people also don't show solutions. They just complain and show you that there's a problem. Or maybe they show you that the only way to fight back is to mass a great army and fight. That's popular in Braveheart and every other kind of freedom movie. But we have nonviolent solutions. It may become violent. We're not opposed to having to do what we have to do. But if the bad guys come a knocking, then it may become violent. But we have nonviolent ways, solutions to make a great path for us in the current day situation that we're in, which the hands of the bad guys are closing in on us, and we are possibly in the last days of human freedom that we know of.
Yeah, and then the crowdfunding trailer, it mentioned the idea of people living outside of the corporate, control grid. Is that something that you plan to incorporate in the storyline, like showing sort of the societies outside of the mainstream?
Yes. I mean, the whole point, because we saw during the pandemic that at least 30-40% of the people took the poison, and they'll probably get the digital ID, so I wish those people well. Humanity is bifurcating. There's going to be the sick and enslaved people, and there's going to be free people. And you pointed it out, and this is in the United Nations doc, or is it the World Economic Forum. They said those people outside of the city, right? That's us. This is the thriving city. And part of the plot is so interesting. If I can steal Rene's thunder while he comes back, the plot is to put the main actor, which is the hero, as the gun instructor of an intentional neighborhood, and then the woman is a lefty statist liberal who is assigned to infiltrate this intentional neighborhood. So come in and infiltrate the neighborhood, and then find all the dirt on these crazy people, and then tell a bad story about it in the media, right? Like the media does now about freedom people. So the lady infiltrates the community, and she tries to find the dirt, and she's like, oh, these are nice, compassionate, reasonable people. So she calls the boss up and says, hey, boss, I can't do this story because these are compassionate, sweet, kind people. They're nice people. Well, not only does that happen, but then she dumps her boyfriend, her leftist statist boyfriend, and she falls in love with the gun instructor. And so now she's fallen in love with the gun instructor. And I guess I'm going to say this because, spoiler alert, Rene, we put the plot on the website. So the plot's already out there, so you know what's going to happen. But she falls in love with the gun instructor, and then she dumps her boyfriend, and then she calls the boss and says, I can't write that story. The essence is that they're separated, and so she infiltrates the community and wants to join the community and shows the goodness of it, shows the compassion of the community versus the outside media. And Rene, you want to comment on how you think if and when we actually do this film that the media will portray us?
Oh, the media will portray us as violent, right-wing, wife-abusing, child-battering people. They'll make us out the worst people, and all we want to do is be left alone, right? I live out in the middle of nowhere, and all I want is to be left alone, and for my kids to be left alone, and for my kids not to have to fight a war because I didn't fight in it. I don't want my son to have to fight in my place. So all we want to do is be left alone. All we want to do is grow our own food, not be under the tyranny of the government. But they will portray us the same way that they portray the heroes in the movie, as some kind of evil, not letting our kids go to school. My kids are homeschool. It's nothing evil. It's just that schools are evil. They're indoctrination camps. They are not schools. You don't send a child to school to be an expert. They come out after 12 years being an expert at 0. And no one seems to notice. People just don't love their kids. This government indoctrination center just so that they could network and so that they could show their obedience to the government. But we don't want that. We want our children to become experts at things and have a positive impact on the world around them. And the best way to do that is to become an expert at something. My children are 11 to 17. I have 11-year-old, 14-year-old, and 17-year-old, and all 3 of them are experts at things that are useful to the world. And they'll just become more experts as they grow even older. But none of that would have happened if they went to school. So although we just want to be left alone, and we, are a benefit to our society, the media shows that we're evil and that we're bad. And if this movie became a huge hit, which we hope it does, they will attack us even more. But I have nothing in my past that shows I'm a bad guy. So anything they talk about me will have to be made up, and they'll have no facts about it. And I think, David, you're proud of everything you've done too. And the times you have been in jail and the times I have been in prison, I'll do it again. I don't think it was anything wrong, and you don't think you did anything wrong, and we're fighting against tyranny. Hell yeah, we'll do it again. So we'll be portrayed as bad guys, but that's the price we have to pay to get this message out there. This message is crucial to the world. They need to see people living this way, and they need to see that it's okay to not think the way that the government wants you to think. It's okay to not think exactly how your neighbor thinks in voting in Trump or Kamala. It's okay to think for yourself and to not want to be ruled over by some puppet politician who really works for the World Economic Forum, whose goal is to depopulate us and keep the last few of us in smart cities where we could be complete slaves with no freedom, with no land, with nothing that would make you a human being.
Perfectly said. I appreciate that, brother. Let's go ahead and show the website now on the screen, because I know you guys have worked hard on this. Again, guys, we're talking with David Rodriguez and Rene Perez about their movie they're working on, Sacred Life, an anti-woke action romance movie. They have just launched this crowdfunding campaign. You got 32 days left as we're recording. We're going to get this out as soon as possible. I know that I'm in for a couple $100. I'm going to donate today. I invite everybody who's following my work and who wants to support culture like this to throw in what you can. You can go ahead and visit the link. It'll be below the video you're watching right now, and you can rewatch the video we played at the beginning of this. And it looks like you can also see some more samples of Rene's work here to see what David was talking about. You mentioned Righteous Blood. You can see a clip of that right here. And you guys also mentioned that there's different perks people can get. Maybe we can talk about that for a moment. Just, what are the different things you guys might be offering for people who are able to contribute?
Yep. Some of the first perks are just to get involved and be part of this community, have early access to it, all the way down to be an executive producer. If you got 20K to drop or 10K, if you want your name on a poster, 2,500, and there's t-shirts and posters, signed things. If you want the gun of the hero, you can get that as well. So a bunch of different options to get involved. The idea is this: the world is in trouble, and we have a solution, which is voluntary everything and all these things we mentioned, independent food. So let's build it. And the vision isn't just one film. If we can do good here, then let's roll it over to another film and maybe even turn it into a TV series, because as I mentioned, it's hard to, change ourselves, right? I'm trying to not change the politicians or change anybody. I'm trying to change me. this is a lot of work. So if we can show this type of new world, this new society, then people can realize, oh, I should change myself too. And so we want to build a community. And that's what the whole idea is to build community, have support. You're not alone out there. They try to isolate us and make us feel alone, during the pandemic. That's a technique of communism, so we want to unite. And if you got $50, here's the numbers. If we get 7,000 people to donate $50, we'll make the film. If we get 3,500 people to donate $100, we'll make the film. And Rene, you want to talk about when we can actually start rolling film? As you said, you're in the middle of a movie right now, but this could happen the first part of 2025.
Yeah, I'm making my 40th movie right now, but I finish movies in 3 or 4 months. So when I'm done with my current assignment, I will start on this one, and hopefully this one will be fully funded. And we already have the script and everything. I'll just polish it and make it even better once I see how much money we've raised, if we've hopefully exceeded the amount. But yeah, we're going to get started on it right away, and we'll have it done within 4 months, 5 months at the latest. You'll see it. And because we don't have to go through, well, we cannot go through regular distribution, the movie will be made available right away. The moment it's done is the moment it'll be made available to people. So this is not something that's going to take a year or two. I'm an expert. I do this. This is my day job. This is my only job. I've been doing this for about 20 years. So when I say it's going to get done, it's going to get done. I know a lot of these crowdfunding things are made by amateurs, and they never even make the movie. That's not going to be the case with us. This is, like I said, my day job is making movies. I will make this one to the best of my ability because it's a passion project. It's not just another movie I'm assigned to, like the one I'm working on now. It's going to be a fight to end tyranny and to wake people up, take them from being woke to take them to being awake, which is what we want. We just want people to wake up and see that there's solutions out there and present those solutions. So yeah, you'll see the movie sooner than you expect.
Very cool. Awesome to hear, guys. I wanted to show one more thing on the screen here as we get ready to wrap up. The concepts that you guys have listed here, which you've already sort of touched on, David and Rene, you've already kind of mentioned each of these, but it says concepts introduced to the audience: voluntary living, intentional neighborhood, moral code, self-directed learning, exit and build. I think that's really cool to see, and I encourage everybody to visit the Indiegogo website and dive deeper into it if you really want to understand the principles and the values behind it. And then you also do have some of the plot listed here. But I think this is a great project, guys. I'm really excited to support it, to help promote it, David, and good to meet you, Rene. And I'm excited to check out some of your other work. And I hope everybody at home who is watching this, who has been in the position, I know we're not alone in this. There's people who are at home and they're scrolling through Netflix and they're looking for something to watch with their kids or watch with their loved ones. And they see, what was that crazy movie Netflix put out about the little girls, little kids? They see some kind of woke agenda thing going on, and they're just like, I wish there was a movie I could watch with my kids or watch with my family that actually had maybe an inspiring or motivational message, or would show them in practice what these ideas I keep talking about actually look like. So this could be just like many other tools that we have. We look at things like books and educational material as sort of tools for us to wake people up. But a film can do the same thing. A powerful story told through the medium of film can really reach somebody in a way different than just a podcast might or a documentary might. So I think this is a really worthy effort to support. I think it's a really necessary effort. And I just want to invite everybody in my audience out there that if you can afford to throw some money to this effort, I think it will be absolutely worth your time, your money, your energy. And I know these guys are going to put everything they have into making this the best film they possibly can. Any other closing words, David and Rene, before we let you go for today?
Good art never dies. Okay, so what we're trying to make is an intergenerational impact, because these bad dudes have been doing this thing for 80 years, 100 years. They've been plotting and planning this whole thing, at least 30 years for Agenda 2030, 21, right? So if we do it right, we need your help. but this movie will echo in eternity, just like Star Wars has, Braveheart has, for me, Rocky has, right? When you make something beautiful like this, you laugh and you cry and you share it with other people. So that's the dream here. And Derrick knows as 33, music also is a way to change culture, literature and comedy, but film may be the most powerful thing ever. You know, I grew up around Rocky, so I associated Rocky with my dad. So I get excited. My dad's not an inspirational guy, but I felt like Rocky Balboa, you know? So this came from the mind of Sylvester Stallone, and he wrote and directed his film as well and blew it out of the park. Same thing with Star Wars. So these small films can change the world, and that's what's happening right now is that Rene has prepared. He's like Michael Jordan in his rookie year. He's ready to explode, and we need your support, you know? He's Babe Ruth at the plate. We need to give him some pitches, all right? So Derrick's done the work, doing the inner work and getting this content out there. Exit and Build's been a great solution. Now we put it together. Now it's like, boom, we got our guy. So anyways, the dream is to make this film, make the next one, and keep turning them out. Maybe make an art school, maybe make a music school, and create this army of other Rene Perez's so that never again humanity will be under the thumb of these people, because media is the tool. Your mind is the battleground, and they want to shape your beliefs, opinions, and words and thoughts and everything like that. So, Rene, it's an honor to work with you. Thanks for having us, Derrick. And Rene, your closing thoughts.
Well, no, you said everything so eloquently. I couldn't begin to do it any better. I just say that people do need to, especially conservative or freedom-minded people, do need to start thinking about movies, because movies are the most powerful tool we have. Not presidents, not interviews, although I'm on an interview right now, but movies, because movies have a connection that nothing else can have. No narrative storytelling. And narrative storytelling is the way that humans have always learned. So the bad guys know this, and they've spent decades indoctrinating us to their ideologies to make us weak, dumb, to make men feminine, to make women promiscuous, everything that'll keep us down and easy to control. It's time that we use the same medium to expose their hypocrisies and show what good, honorable people should do and how we should operate. That's all. Thank you for having us on the show.
Greatly said by both of you. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the efforts you're making. Again, everybody at home, I just encourage you to check out the crowdfunding video once again. Get excited about it. Share it with your friends and family. Support this project. It's important for us to support each other in our different ventures as we all work to wake up humanity in different ways, and film is an exceptional way to do so. I look forward to making my contribution, and I look forward to watching this film once it comes out. Thank you guys for joining me today. Everybody at home, until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.